Hi, so welcome to the live stream today. Always a pleasure coming your way as we, look at our revision sessions generally for the ICA December 2022 examination. And I believe that the journey has been interesting for you so far, and you've covered enough that is you're supposed to cover, and you're looking at the final touches and the key issues that you need to focus on in order to position yourself to pass the examination. So welcome to the stream today. It's a Q&A session, which means that you're going to throw me questions, something you would want me to share my thought on, something that you would want my thoughts on, and I will provide you with some understanding in relation to that. So I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Comment in the chat box any questions you have for me. I'm going to also take the time to share some thoughts with you in relation to key topics, key areas, and strategies that you need to adopt in order to really finish up in the next 3 weeks as we wrap up and conclude on the December 2022 examination. So whatever questions you have, throw it in the chat for me. I will really be excited to provide you with some answers so you can prepare well for the examination, but most importantly, be able to pass the exams so you can pass the exams. So let's see what we have here. Let me change my screen over. Right. Remember also that our we still have copies of our books available. Taxation, financial management, corporate reporting, volume 1 and 2, financial reporting, advanced audit and assurance, public sector accounting and finance. We have all these books available that you can get access to. You can see the number scrolling below your screen. You can WhatsApp that line and we'll be able to get you copies of this book. Or better still, you can also visit our Amazon page, search for Nhyira Premium on Amazon, and you will be able to get access to all these books as well on Amazon. So you can buy them and use them so you prepare well for your examination. So going into the December 2021, did you hear that? 2021. Going into the December 2022 examination, the question we need to ask ourselves is on the lookout for what are some things that we need to do to position ourselves to pass the examination. Now, one thing you need to understand is that going into the December examination, on the average, about 70% of students will be failing the exams. Okay, that is the reality of the data. So when we look at the statistics and extrapolate, about 70% of students on the average will be failing the exams. That's the reality. So if you take a subject like management accounting, give and take, about 70% of students sitting for the exams will fail the exams. So 30% are going to be passing the exams. Why is that the case? Because there are a lot of factors that contributes to your ability to be able to pass the examination. So let's take management accounting for instance. Why is it a technical subject? Why is it that a lot of people fail the management accounting exams? It is not necessarily that the management accounting paper is difficult, but it is that the management accounting paper is a special paper in its own realm. In other words, you must understand the structure of the management accounting exams, number one. But then, number two, you must also understand the key terminologies that the examiner is going to be using. And when the examiner makes certain statements, the interpretation that they are going to be given to these statements. But also, most importantly, is going to be time. A lot of students fail the exams not necessarily because they do not understand or they do not they didn't learn, they didn't study well, they didn't attend the best a good tuition center or something like that, but it is because they were not able to work on themselves, manage their time pretty well in the exam hall. So give and take, if we should give them 5 hours, 6 hours, probably they could answer all the five questions and definitely pass the examination. But the reality is that as you go into the exam hall, it is 3 hours. So the examiner is not going to allow you any extra time apart from the 3 hours and the 15 minutes reading time that you're going to have available. What it means is that speed and accuracy would be something that you have to adopt in the exam hall to increase your chances of passing the exams. Now, in order for you to adopt speed and accuracy in the exam hall, what it then means is that you have to spend time to understand the key concepts, the key principles that underline the subjects. I was sharing this with my students and I was telling them this. In the exam hall, especially in the first 2 hours, 2 hours, you are not supposed to think. In other words, you don't read a question and say, yeah, what is this about? Oh, no, 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 no. You see, when you waste time to do that, you are heading towards the ditch already. So it means you have to spend time, understand the syllabus very well, so that immediately you read the question, you know exactly what the question is talking about, and then how you can actually answer the question. And how you can actually answer the question. But somebody was saying, Shira, we can't finish syllabus. I can't go through everything. But to that, I say that's a lie. Because the best place to be as you go into the exam hall is to be able to finish the syllabus, is to be able to cover the entire syllabus. That is the best place you want to be. So you must have fair understanding, about 80%, 85% understanding of all of the topics that is available in the syllabus relating to whatever subject that you're doing. So give and take. Let's say you are looking at issues relating to management accounting. We know question one is going to be on performance measurement. Okay, what are some of the things there? Okay, there is transfer pricing there. There is divisional performance evaluation. There is organizational performance evaluation. There is performance evaluation for non-for-profit making organizations. You must understand all these because in the exam, or any of these guys are going to be there in the example. We know there is going to be question on variance. Which part of variance? There are a lot of aspects of variance. We have the basic variance, that is the direct material variance, the labor variance, the overhead variance. Even under the overhead variance, we have the fixed and the variable. Then we go to the sales variance. Even if you come to the direct material variance, we have the mix and yield variance where the entity is using more than one material. If you go to the sales variance, also we have the sales quantity variance and then the sales mix variance. That is also dividing the sales volume variance into the two, where the entity sells more than one product. So you have to understand all the principles relating to these aspects because the question can come from anywhere. Three, we know there's going to be a question on budgeting, but where exactly in budgeting will the examiner be picking the question? Where exactly on budgeting or in budgeting that the examiner will be picking the question? We have the theory aspect of budgeting, the methods of budgeting, or approach of budgeting, or procedures of budgeting. Not only that, we also have the issue relating to dealing with the preparation of the functional budget, the sales budget, the production budget, the labor budget, the material budget. Then we have the budgeted cash flow statement. Then we come to budgeted income statement, budgeted statement of financial position. Where would the examiner bring the budgeting question from? You don't know. So you need to have an understanding of all of it. Then we know there will be short-term decisions coming in. Which kind of short-term decision will the examiner bring? You don't know, but you have to know all of the short-term decisions: relevant cost analysis, limiting factor analysis, throughput accounting, make or buy, shutdown decision, outsourcing decision, pricing decisions. You have to know all of these. So what I'm trying to tell you is this, and I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video. This is a live Q&A session. If there are any questions you have, something you would want me to share my thought on, don't hesitate. Put it in the comment section or the chat for me, depending on where you are watching us from. And I'm going to be providing you with some answers as we go through. And I'm also giving you some strategies on how you can pass the examination. Okay, I'm also giving you some strategies on how you can pass the exams. So if you look at it, you need to be able to cover the syllabus. You need to be able to cover the syllabus. That is why I keep on telling students that don't wait 1 week to the exams, 3 days to the exams, and try to attend any miserable intervention class or whatever the heck and think you will pass the exams, you will fail. You will go and fail the exams because you cannot use miracle 6 hours, 3 hour class and think you go to the exam hall and go and pass. You will fail. You will go and fail. Like I said, statistically, about 70% maximum on the average across the subjects will fail the December 2022 examination. That is the statistics. I'm not the one who did it. The chief examiner's report has shown it over the last 6 examination dates. But the question is, if 70% of the people will fail and 30% will pass, whatever subject it is, where do you stand? Where do you stand? Are you going to pass or are you going to fail? That's your call. So what I'm trying to say is this: going into the December 2022 examination, you have to have an understanding about 85% minimum in all of the aspects of the syllabus. If you are doing financial reporting, all the standards, you must know about them. You must understand how to prepare the cash flow statement, how to prepare the statement of profit or loss, other comprehensive income statements of financial position. You have to understand how to deal with the consolidated financial statement, all the aspects of the consolidated financial statement. Ratio analysis, you should be able to know how to compute the various ratios, but most importantly, how to interpret the ratios. Because 70% of candidates will fail the exams. The question is, where do you stand? Will you pass? Will you fail? I know. Nobody will. There's a saying in Tree there's a proverb, I don't know, in Tree that says that Obi infa ninsa entre neja fee. Like you cannot, say that, oh, I'll fail. No, I know you will say you pass. I know you have faith in yourself that you pass. But the reality of the matter is that if you take 10 students, 7 of them will fail the December examination. If you take 10 students, 7 of them will fail the examination. That is the deal. That is the deal. I'm seeing some chats coming in. Let's see if I can answer some of them real quick. My autofocus on the camera is really high. Let's see. What do I have? Okay. Let's take this first. Ishmael Peno Afari said, hello, good evening, senior. Good evening, Ishmael. Thanks for joining us on the stream. Fusaini Abdul Gafas, give us a thumbs up in the chat. Thank you, Fusaini, for joining us on the stream. Musi James said, I'm having a problem with auditing and assurance diet. The content is a lot for me, and when I look in the question, almost everything has been covered. Please guide me to revise. Okay. So when it comes to audit and assurance, let me bring up my screen and give you some ideas about audit and assurance that you must know about. Let's see. Is my screen ready? Okay, it's already up. Boom. Let's go. Bum bum bum. Let me bring it up. So audit and assurance. So Mosi James, audit and assurance, there are some key areas that you have to focus on in order for you to increase your chances of passing the examination. Okay, so key topics. It's a reading subject, that's why it's appearing to be a lot, but you have to read it anyways, James, to be able to pass the examination. But there are key topics you have to focus on. The first thing is about ethics. Please note that the way ethics is dealt with in audit and assurance is different from the way it is done in corporate reporting or financial reporting or even in management accounting. So ethics in auditing, it's a little bit different. So you have to make sure you understand, even though the fundamental principles are the same, the threats are the same, the context of the question will be a little bit different. So ethics is going to be crucial there, very important. Audit planning and risk assessment, very crucial. You cannot overemphasize this. It's going to be there. There is something about that you need to understand. Audit planning, risk assessment, there is something about it that you need to understand. Okay, it's important. It's important. What factors do we take into consideration before accepting an engagement? Part of it. What are the various risks that an entity is exposed to? Remember, we have the audit risks, which is made up of what inherent risks, control risks, and then detection risks. Okay, remember we also have business risks available, and business risks is made up of a couple of things: compliance risk, operational risk, and the last one is going to be financial risk. You have to understand all of these things because the examiner could throw some questions from this. Then number three, which is a done deal area, is audit procedure and audit evidence. Audit procedure and audit evidence. There is going to be a question relating to these in the exam hall, and you have to be on the lookout to be able to pick maximum marks in this case. If you remember carefully, audit procedure is the five vowel sounds: A, E, I, O, U. I recently did a video about audit procedures and explain it how it will be used. So you can check the channel. It's a recent video, our last published video also. You can see audit procedure and you can watch that video. It's going to help you a lot to be able to understand how audit procedure works. But remember, the audit procedure we select depends on the accession being tested. Okay, accession being tested, and there are various accessions that can be tested based on whether we are dealing with transactions and events, or we are dealing with balances at the reporting date, or you are dealing with issues relating to disclosure requirements. I see some of you guys coming in. You are welcome. This is a Q&A session, so if there are any questions you have, something you want me to share my thought on, please put it in the chat for me. I'll be really excited to look at it for you. So some of sessions that we're going to be testing include issues relating to how do we call it, issues relating to completeness. Okay, issues relating to cutoff. Okay, very important, very important. Then we're going to be looking at issues about valuation. There is classification here that we need to also pay attention to: valuation, rights, and obligation. Okay, existence. These are all assertions that are going to be tested for. So when you read a question about audit procedures, you have to ask yourself, which assertion are we testing for, and what are we looking at? Is it a transaction or event, or is it a balance at the reporting date, or is it about the disclosure requirements? Then that will inform you the assertion that you have to test. Then based on the assertion you will test, it will then guide you to be able to write out the audit procedure, whether we have to make some inquiries, we have to inspect some documents, we need to carry out some observation, or recalculate or reperform what has to be done in that case. So that is the idea generally about that as well. It's an area that you must know about. Number four is reporting, very crucial. There is a minimum of, maybe depending on where you are at, but there is a minimum of 10-15 mark question in the exam hall coming in for audit reporting that you have to be on the lookout for. Note that the examiner will not ask you to write an audit report, but you have to be able to examine what an audit report is generally. So at this level, there are subsequent events. How do we deal with subsequent event as per ISA 560? Subsequent event, there is issues about going concern. What are the issues guiding going concern? You must know about that. Not only that, you should be able to also know about the audit report itself and the circumstances under which an audit report will be modified in that particular case, and the various paragraphs that could be included in an auditor's report. So ethics, crucial. Audit planning, risk assessment, very crucial. Audit procedure, audit evidence, very crucial. Audit reporting, very important. Now, the way you increase the chances of understanding these things is that they are interrelated, they are interconnected, and you need to be able to sit down. I believe you are attending lectures, so go over your notes wherever you're attending lectures at, or structure yourself out, understand the key principles that are underlining each of these four topics, and you'll be good. There are other topics available, but if you are strong in these four topics, all other things being equal, you should be able to pass the examination. There are some other introductory issues that could be available, but Musisi James, about audits, this is what I can say. Okay, this is what I can say. This is going to be give and take about 80% of the syllabus, or 80% of your exams, or 75-80% will be coming in from these four areas. Then there are other introductory aspects that the examiner could be bringing question on, that you have to be on the lookout for. But if you are strong in these topics, I can guarantee you, James, that you'll be able to ultimately pass the exams when it comes to dealing with audit and assurance. Okay, so let me know if that uh, is helpful for you, James. And if there are any follow-up questions, please don't. It's a live Q&A session, so put it in the chat for me. I would want to hear from you. Uh, Fusaini Abdul said, please, what is your advice to new ICAG, new students of ICAG? Very simple. My advice is steady. Number one, steady. Number two, understand the structure of the exams. Understand the structure of the exams. It's not everything that you will learn in the book that will come in the examination you are going to write. So you must know the structure of the exams and understand what goes into each question in the exams. Again, if you're attending lectures, you'll be provided with guidelines on that. We do that here with our students, and in all the courses that we do, we give students that guidelines, that blueprint. Just on Monday, public sector students, we give that guideline, that blueprint on how they have to study, the things that they have to focus on to increase their chances of passing the exam. So number one, steady. Number two, understand the structure of the exams. Number three, note that on the average, 70% of students will fail the ICA exams. I am not saying that to freak you out. I am saying that to prepare your mind and to let you do well. 70% on the average students sitting for the December exams will fail because you are lazy, you don't study, you don't work hard, you will fail. So if you don't want to fail, you don't want to go through that emotional trauma, you don't want to go through that pain, you don't want to be discouraged, okay, you don't want to be disgraced, you don't want to give up, because some of you, you've written the ICA exam and you've given up because you've written the paper twice and you failed, and you feel like it's okay, let me go sell Banku. Okay, you're welcome. Right now, the way the economy has done, even if you're selling Banku, I think you make more money than if you're just an accountant. But that's just an aside. But what I'm trying to say here is that you have to really want this. Okay, so number one, steady. Number two, understand the structure of the ICA examination. Number three, understand that 70% of students on the average will fail the exams. If you don't want to fail, you have to work hard. How bad do you want this? How bad do you want it? You see, I have a lot of people, and I've been doing this since 2013, close to a decade in the game. And most of the time, I'll have students and they will talk to me and they're like, yo, Nhyira, I really want to become a chartered accountant, and I want to make sure that I charter in, in 2 years or whatever the heck. Like they speak passionately about it. They are really enthusiastic about it. Then I'm like, yo, that's good. That's awesome. Then along the line, as the time goes on, you realize that they are not studying, they are not working hard, they don't do assignments, they don't participate in performance evaluation tests. They just go with the flow. And the excuses they will give is my work, my job, my house, my wife, my husband, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my children, my church, my this. I'm not saying don't do other things. I cannot advise you how to live your life. But I'm saying, or I'm trying to find and ask, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want this? This is what distinguishes between the 30% and the 70%. Because the 30% of the students who want to pass the exams, who will pass the exams, are people who are going the extra mile, are people who really want this, are people who are willing to sacrifice. Listen, you have to give up something if you really want to pass these exams and make this journey interesting and as soon as possible. But it will come at a price. It will come at a price. So for saying, number one, study. Number two, understand the structure of the ICA examination. Number three, note that 70% of students will fail the exams. 70% of students will fail the exams. But the 30% that will pass is the distinguishing factor. How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? This is the reality. I'm not here to let you panic. Don't go and sit somewhere and say, Nhyira said ICA will fail 70% of students. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that the statistics, the statistics, the statistics, that's what I've shown. So when we extrapolate, about 70% of you guys sitting for the December exams will fail. If you don't want it, you have to work hard. How? By sacrificing. Sacrifice what? I don't know. Maybe your sleep, maybe some outings, maybe some movies, something, so that you can spend time with your books and study. And study. Then another thing that I would say is study style. I think I've said this over and over again. I've had people who also tell me that, Nhyira, I'm studying, but the following morning when I get up, I cannot remember anything. Let me say this. People ascribe that to a lot of things, that, oh, I'm aging, so my memory is not, my brain is not working well. No, that's a lie. That is a lie. There is no scientific research that has confirmed that if you are growing, your brain becomes weak and you can't remember anything. There is no scientific research. And I am somebody who is interested in the brain. So I read a lot about the brain. And I've not come across any scientific research that says that if you are aging, your brain weakens, or your memory becomes weakens. But you need to find out how you work, how you study. You see, you cannot be studying and have your data on and you are receiving WhatsApp messages, Facebook notification, Instagram notification. So you open your book, you are studying. So let's say we pick whatever the heck. Let's say you are learning tax. What are you learning in tax? Let's say you're learning income tax liabilities of individuals, but your iPhone is by you, or your Samsung, your Xiaomi, or whatever the heck, it's by you. Data is on. What's up, Quinny? Then you go and pick it. You know that when the phone is by you and you hear the Quinny, you will be tempted to go and pick it. So you go and pick it. Then Akosia has sent you a message. You see, Akosia is somewhere not learning for ICA. So Akosia has all the time in the world. You are learning, studying for ICA. Then Akosia send you something funny. Then you open it. Hey, then you'll be laughing. Then Akosia will send you another one. Then you are also in one miserable group like that. One miserable group like that, that there is no productive thing that goes on the group, but you are part of the group because you want to please people. You don't want people to say, oh, and I would share and I are to this, you are to that. So you are in the group, you don't like it, but you are there, and everything they post on that group is absolute nonsense and rubbish. But you'll be looking at it, going through that whilst your book is there. So you spend 2 hours sitting behind the book, but 1 hour, 30 minutes of those 2 hours, you were on WhatsApp. So even though the book was before you and you were reading intermittently, your focus was on WhatsApp, was on social media, was on your phone. So you have to create a serene environment where you are not distracted. Where you are not distracted. Because emotion plus information equals long-term memory. Emotion plus information equals long-term memory. So as the time you are learning, you must have a good emotion. You must be in a good state of mind. You must be focused on what you are learning and attached positive emotion to it, and that will help you to retain the information. But if you are studying and at the same time, Akosia is sending you WhatsApp messages, Kwane, 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 then you are reading it, you are telling your brains that what you are reading is useless. So your brain should not take it serious. And it is in your brain, but it will not put it somewhere that you can recollect easily. And so that is why some of you, when you leave the exam hall, you are on your way home, or after the exams, you are just lying down on your bed. All of a sudden, the things that you learned some time ago will be coming, will be coming. Then you ask yourself, when I needed this in the exam hall, I did not remember, but now it is coming. Do you know why? Because you are relaxed, because the environment, because you are not on social, you are not being distracted, your brain is relaxed. And when your brain is relaxed, it is able to go through the archives and bring back the things that you need. So psychologically, you have to be in a good mental state, emotionally balanced, if you want to really remember everything that you study. And it is something I share a lot with you guys on the stream, on the stream always, as well as with my students. You need to be in a good emotional state. You cannot pick the book and be thinking about Ghana economy. Yeah, I know you have to think about it, but you cannot pick a book and be thinking about it. Otherwise, nothing will stick. Because all when you think about Ghana's economy, all that comes to your brain or your mind is fear, anxiety, perplexity, hopelessness, death, chaos, disorganized. Nothing positive if you think about Ghana's economy because of the mere madness and foolishness going on. So you need to reach a point in your life where you can control your mind so that even though the things that are outside of you are negative, you choose to be positive. You choose to have hope. You choose to focus, and you choose consciously to have peace. So if you ask me, give and take about advice for ICA no students, that's what I would say. Okay, study hard, know the structure of the exams, understand that 70% of students on the average will fail the December examination. Because of that, study hard. Know your study style. Know what works best for you. And I can guarantee you, if you do that, you'll be able to pass the examination. Okay. Maria Peterson said, I'm sitting for December exams. It's good to know about that statistics though. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not here to scare you. I'm not here to tell you anything. And I don't care what anybody else has told you. But that is the reality. And I hit you with the reality. If you like it, you take it. If you don't like it, you can go and fast and pray. But you go to the exam hall and you still fail. Because faith without work is foolishness. Raphael Akko said, good evening, sir. Good evening, Raphael. Thanks for joining us on the stream. Tewo Amo said, Weldon said, please kindly help me shed more light on how to study and pass MI. Say, what is MI? What is MI? Management information. Maybe Tewo, if you're still on the chat, on the call, please give me some understanding. What's MI? I don't know what's MI. Chris Chanda said, I'm Chanda from Zambia. Thanks for this. Kindly talk about internal controls. Internal controls. Um, Internal controls generally has to do with the various things that companies must put in place. Let me go to my slide and then you know see if I can share something with you from there. Let me see if I can bring up a slide on that. Can I? Where do we have this? Should be here. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can grab my slide on some of that, if it is possible for me. There are 5 general things that we need to understand when it comes to, dealing with internal controls. Let me see if I can get the material, and then I'll run through with you quickly. Here we go. Internal controls. This is from my book. So for those of you who have my advanced audit and assurance book, or my audit book, you'll be able to see this. Now, so there are 5 elements of internal controls generally. The first one is control environment. I mean, this has to do with the tone of the institution, the spirit within the organization, and this is based on a number of factors. For instance, it is based on the integrity and ethical values of the leadership of the organization, the commitment of the organization to, competent, the leadership philosophy and the operating style of management, the policies and procedures within the organization. That is control environment. That is control environment. Okay. It has to do with the tone within the organization that determines how everything else is supposed to be done. So the people who are the leaders of the organization, their commitment to quality and all that will influence the control that is in place. But every internal control system has inbuilt into it risk assessment, because every organization is exposed to risk. And it is important for the organization to identify the risks, number one. Number two is to assess the impact of the risks on the organization. And then number three, the entity must find ways and means to mitigate the risk, or if you want, eliminate the risks altogether. And the organization is able to do this through the help of the internal audits as well as the audit committee. So it is important that as part of the internal control system of the organization, they have system in place for identifying risks, analyzing the impact of the risks on the entity, and finding the ways and means to be able to mitigate or eliminate those risks as much as possible. Then control environment. These are the policies and procedures that help to ensure that their directives of management are carried out. So really the control activities has to do with the various things that we are doing within the organization to ensure that we achieve our goals as organization. Now, there are a number of control activities that we need to understand, like segregation of duties. You don't let one person do a lot of things. So when it comes to the sales cycle, for instance, somebody should be able to authorize credit sales. Someone should be able to raise the invoice. Someone else should be able to arrange for the dispatch of the goods. Someone else should go and collect the money from the customers. That is called segregation of duties. There has to be separate people responsible for the various parts of the organization, because this will prevent fraud and also errors, and also issues relating to embezzlement and other various things. That is one key aspect of control activities. Authorization. Transactions, events, and things must be authorized by a respective person or individual. Like I was telling you earlier, if it is about credit sales, someone should authorize the credit sale in the organization, so that not that we receive an order, then we start dispatching the order. If the order is on credit, we have to assess the credit worthiness of the customer. There has to be someone dedicated for that. Then certainly computer controls are there. This could be physical, using of passwords and all of those things to be able to control them as well. Then we have information and communication. This has to do with how information is transferred within the organization. So what is the medium or the channel of communication within the organization, and what is the flow also of information within the organization? This is usually based on the organizational charts that is available within the organization, and that tells who can report to who, which information can be sent to who, and at what time in that particular case. Then the last thing is monitoring. Every effective system of an organization should have inbuilt or built into it a monitoring mechanism, so that on a regular basis we will monitor to see whether the internal controls are working in a manner that is expected to work generally. If not, then we can focus on how we can improve upon it, change it, or do something else. Now, this is the idea generally about internal controls. And like I said, the material I'm sharing is from our audit book that we have available. Do I have a copy at hand here? No, I think it's rather down there. So Chanda, that's the idea there. I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. This is a live Q&A session. So put in the comment section for me any questions you have, something you would want me to share my thoughts on, and I'll provide you with some answers as much as I can. Abdul said, please tell me about course registration. I'm a new student. Should I register for all the part 2 courses left after exemption, or I should register for 2 courses for now? Hey, Abdul, have you studied for all the papers? So I tell students this all the time. It depends on studies. You see, I know that everybody may be having some goals. Some people are like, yo, I want to be a chartered accountant at 30. I want to be a chartered accountant before I marry. I want to be a chartered accountant before I give birth to my first child. In as much as those goals are beautiful, they are nice, in my opinion, they are stupid, because you don't put such limits on, because 99.9% of the time that becomes a limitation or hindrance on people. So my goal is, or my recommendation will be, you register for the papers that you can pass, not about the fact that you want to become a chartered accountant as soon as possible. So if you have an exemption and you are left with whatever papers you have in level 2, maybe 4 papers or 2 papers, depending on what kind of exemptions you are coming in with, whether an MBA or first degree, ask yourself 3 weeks to the exams, have I studied enough to qualify me to pass? Based on that, you register for the exams. And depending on how busy you are, so don't register for all just because you think you can write all, but register for the ones that you think you can pass. So for instance, depending on the subject combination, public sector and financial reporting could be a good combination in that regard. You could go with that. In that case, that could be helpful there for as a starter. But depending on the subject, you have management accounting and principles of tax could also be another combination, or financial management and principles of tax could be another combination as well to help you up. So don't register because you have a goal of becoming a chartered accountant at a certain milestone or whatever the heck. Register because you know you have studied enough that will guarantee that you will pass the exams. Are you getting it? That would be my recommendation, Abdul, in what kind of subjects do you register for. Please put me on Outpass management information. Are you talking about level 1 management information, ICA level 1? Is that what you're talking about? Okay. Is that what you're talking about? Let me know. Because with that one, with management information, there are some key issues you have to focus on. There are some key models that you have to understand, like the balance scorecard, Porter's 5 forces, SWOT analysis, issues about governance, issues about ethics. So, like, you need to understand those things. Then there is the IT aspect as well, information technology, the types of information technology for decision making in that particular case as well. Life and love. Nhyira, I've been calling you for a while. That's no answer and no returned calls. You can send a message on WhatsApp. If you call and you don't get us through, you can send a message on WhatsApp. Whatever challenge you have, it will be dealt with in that case. Because, for instance, I'm on a call now, like I'm on a stream now. My phone has been ringing here, but I cannot answer it. You see the thing? And by the time I'm done, there could be like 20, 30 missed calls. How many of those missed calls can I return? Not all of them. So you can send a message on WhatsApp. If you call through and you don't get, and whatever it is, my executive assistant will be able to assist you on that so that you can be helped well. Senior, please, can you outline areas in corporate reporting and advanced taxation that I should be focusing on? I think corporate reporting, we've said that over and over again. We know the standards are going to be there. Let's see if we can bring my screen up. We know the standards are going to be there for corporate reporting. And so IFRS 9, IAS 3019, IFRS, 2, these guys are fundamental standards that you need to understand. But in addition to this, IAS 16, it's going to be applying some way, somehow. So you have to understand it. Make sure that because you'll be learning IAS 2, IAS 12 must be known because there is a deferred tax in share-based payments. So you must know about IAS 12. Then, as you are learning IFRS 9, there are two other standards that may have some connections, and that is IFRS 15, okay, revenue from contract with customers, and IFRS 16, leases. So because of the interconnectedness that exists between them, IFRS 9, 15, and 16, you have to know about them because a question can come where you have to apply the knowledge across board. And then because you need to really understand how share-based payment works in IFRS 2, the deferred tax implication of it, you must understand IAS 12 as well. So like this will be the collection of standards that you need to be on the lookout for and be mindful of as you go into the exam. But in addition to these, the other standards are going to be equally relevant. You know that in the exam hall, there will be non-current asset standards that will be coming in, and you can look at them. Then certainly you have ratios. Note that there is the basic ratios you know about, and there is cash flow analysis as well. So one of them will be in the exam hall. Which one we don't know. So you make sure you understand that. Then the issue about financial reconstruction, business reorganization, and business valuation. One of these guys will be there in the exam hall. There are fundamental principles that guides how business valuation is supposed to be done and how financial reconstruction is supposed to be done. Make sure you understand those basic principles because one of them will be there in that case. Then certainly ethics. If the examiner is excited, 10 marks. If he's not excited, 6 marks will be there. So make sure you understand ethics. Then certainly consolidated financial statement. Please note that consolidated financial statement is a broad area. If care is not taken, you will use all your time just to study consolidated financial statement. So my recommendation is that, yes, look at it though, but before you come to console, make sure you are strong in the other 80%. Consolidation, depending on how excited the examiner is, there could be 5-mark theory on consolidation that will come from either IAS 28, investment in associates and joint venture, IFRS 10, business combination, consolidated financial statement, and IFRS 3, business combination. So there may be 5-mark theory on consolidation that will come from these 3 standards. So all the theories in consolidation, make sure you understand them very well. Then you can go to the various calculations. Remember, like I said, it's a lot. So before you start spending your time on consolidation, looking at all the aspects, step acquisition, disposal, dealing with complex group structure, foreign subsidiary, consolidated cash flow. like a dorsal. It's a lot. So before you get there, make sure that you are strong in the standards, strong in ratios, strong in business valuation and financial reconstruction, strong in ethics, and certainly those theories there. And definitely, you should be able to pass the examination. I tell my students all the time, do not answer the consolidated financial statements question first in the exam hall. The reason is that the chief examiner has stated that the consolidated financial statement question, both in financial reporting and corporate reporting, uh, is one of the well answered questions in the exams. I don't know who perpetrated that nonsense, but for some reason, students doing financial reporting or corporate reporting go crazy about consolidated financial statements. So they end up answering that as their first question, and they will spend the time like 1 hour, 1 hour, 20 minutes doing the consolidation, but they end up failing the exams. So even though the consolidated financial statement is the well answered question in financial reporting and corporate reporting, pass mark in financial reporting and corporate reporting is always hovering around 30, 25, hovering around 30, 25. So what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm not saying don't answer console in the exam hall. I am saying that let that be your third or your last but one question. Because by the time you get to consolidation, you have done the ethics, checked. You've done the ratios, checked. You've done the standards, checked. And you've answered all the other theories, checked. Then you can go to consolidation, take some marks on the simple areas that you can take some easy marks, and you should be able to pass the exam. Because remember, you don't even have enough time available in the exam hall. So if you ask me about corporate reporting, I mean, that is what I'm going to say in that case. For advanced taxation, the key areas, it's a broad area, but there are basic principles that underline uh, corporate tax liabilities. And these principles will be there in the exam hall. And there are a lot of the principles. Unless otherwise you are enroll in my tax class or our tax class, or maybe you have access to my tax book, the way you have to know the principles, it's a lot, because you must know how to deal with financial cost, financial gain, thin capitalization, disposal of assets, dealing with issues relating to dividends, taxation of other income, dealing with issues about capital allowance, talking about repairs and improvement. Like, there are a lot of principles there. So when it comes to taxation, income tax liabilities of companies, corporate tax liabilities, there are a lot of principles there. You have to know about them. Number two is about tax implication. There is a question waiting for you in the exam hall, minimum of 20 marks for tax implication. Tax implication of what? Maybe an investor is seeking to invest in Ghana. Which industry should the investor go into? Free zone, farming, agro processing, whichever the heck. You must understand the tax implication of those things. Then the last key part is going to be taxation of natural resources. That is mining and oil exploration. You must understand the revenues that the government of Ghana can get from mining and oil exploration as well. That's very crucial. That is fundamental as well. Then there are calculations there, and there are some principles, beautiful principles, also when it comes to those areas in that case. So if you ask me, what areas do you focus on to increase your chances of passing advanced taxation? Also, that is what I would say. Like I said, the principles are a lot when it comes to advanced taxation, and you have to spend time to understand the principles very well. And one of the things we have done, for instance, is like this book, especially because with this book, what we did is we pick the principles one after the other, explain with question, explain with question, explain with questions, explain with questions. So you will be able to like easily go through it and understand. And then on our portal also, we have videos that break down the principles one after the other, so that you'll be able to understand the principles. Then when you pick a question, you can apply them. So that is what I would say there when it comes to dealing with that. Samuel said, Nhyira, please, I would like to know the important item that is needed in the preparation of consolidated cash flow. Um, when it comes to consolidated cash flow, it's just like any other cash flow from the level two. Only that here there will be some additional workings that you would have to look out for. Like you would have to calculate goodwill, at acquisition, because probably the entity may acquire a company during the year. So you have to calculate the goodwill at acquisition. They need to prepare the goodwill account. The reason you need to prepare the goodwill account is to identify whether there is an impairment in goodwill. Okay, whether there's an impairment in goodwill. So if there is an impairment in goodwill, that will be added back when it comes to cash flow from operating activities. Okay, then certainly the usual things you need to prepare PPE accounts, and the usual items will be dealt with, just like how cash flow to be dealt with from financial reporting. So in corporate reporting, like it's the same idea, only that you have to take into consideration when a business is acquired during the year, then you have to calculate the goodwill at acquisition. You have to prepare the goodwill account so you can find out whether there is an impairment in goodwill. Then you may also have to deal with investment in associates to find out if there is any amount in investment in associates that has to be adjusted for in the cash flow statement. Certainly, PPE account will be prepared as well. Then the other workings about, you would have to do prepare the non-controlling interest accounts so that you will be able to determine the dividend that has been paid to non-controlling interest. Then you need to also look at the retained earnings account, so the dividend paid to the controlling interest, that is the owners of the business. So in addition to these, the various other workings about cash flow preparation from financial reporting will be applicable. Okay, will be applicable in that case. So that is what I would say there in relation to cash flow statement preparation. Any other questions? I see some of you guys joining. Give us a thumbs up on the video if you're getting value, and also consider to put in the chat for me any questions you have. Kevin Tamaklu said, I'm late. Okay. Samuel Answer said, good evening, sir. Good evening. Maria Peterson said, thanks for talking about sacrifices. I needed to hear this. Whole day been struggling to make right decision on sacrificing some function at the office over my studies. Thanks a lot for your advice. All right. So, just make some sacrifices. Very soon it will all add up and it will make sense. Okay. But for now, it'll be a bit weak, but you'll be good. Okay. You'll be good, Maria. I can guarantee you, you'll be good later. Chris Chanda said, in management accounting, which are the major topics I have to focus on? I'm writing in December. Management accounting, there is no focus. There is no major topic to focus. Every topic in management accounting will be asked by the examiner. I think I spoke about this earlier in the discussion. Budgeting, the question on budgeting, but which part of budgeting? Will it be functional budget or master budget or theories in budgeting? There will be question on investment appraisal. Okay, which method? IRR, NPV, payback period, discounted payback? Like what? Like it's gonna be there, right? Variance analysis. Okay. Which part of variance analysis? I don't know. Multiple products, reconciliation statement, sales variances. We don't know. It's gonna be there. So, like, then you go to question one, performance measurement. There is transfer pricing. There is performance evaluation of divisions. There is performance evaluation for the whole company. There is performance evaluation for non-profitable entities. Which one will be there? I don't know. You have to know about all of them, basically. All right. So that is what I would say when it comes to management accounting. There is no topic of focus, because the question will be spread across the topic. Short-term decisions. There will be question on short-term decision. Which short-term? Break-even analysis. Yeah, break-even analysis has been the baby daddy or the baby daughter of the favorite daughter of the examiner. So break-even analysis, relevant cost analysis, pricing decision, make or buy, shutdown decision. Which one? Limiting factor analysis. Which one? I don't know. You got to know all of them basically. So there is no topic of focus because each part the examiner is going to be bringing questions up. My recommendation will be to spend time to really understand the principles that underline each of the topics. And that is what I try to do with my management accounting students in that case. That, hey, it's not about, okay, I want to be good at this topic. No, you cannot be good at this topic. You don't have to be good at this topic. But if you pick each topic, there are principles there. So when it comes to short-term decisions, the fundamental principle there is the marginal costing principle. If you screw up the marginal costing principle, then you screw up short-term decisions. Then number two, grammar is very important. But when we talk about grammar here, it is not the beautiful school you attended and you got A1 in English. The management accounting English is different from your A1 that you got in English. And for those of you who got D7 in English, we pray for you. But in management accounting, the grammar is going to be important because when the examiner makes a statement, it is important you understand what is it saying. So you don't just take the statement or read a question on a face value and think, oh, this is no. When you read, your brain must go to work as a management accountant to be able to then answer the question. So grammar is going to be very key. So number one, understanding the fundamental principles in each of the topics. Then grammar, what kind of tenses the examiner is going to be using. When the examiner makes this statement, what does it mean? And one of the challenging areas is relevant cost analysis. Relevant cost analysis. And it's funny because sometimes we are doing that. We are solving questions and like it baffles people because we read a question and they are saying something else, but then I'm like, no, examine the grammar well, like look at what you're doing, reading well, and what is the principle. Then you'll be able to collect it. So it's important that you work on that pretty well, the grammar, so that you can pass the examination generally. Okay, so that you can pass the examination generally. So that is what I would say. There is no topic of focus in management accounting. Every topic is examinable. And that is the goal of the examiner. That's the goal of the examiner. So understand the principles, and I think you will be good. I think you'll be good. Then Bright Kwame said, hello, Nhyira. Can you advise where I should be focusing on in financial management? There is no area of focusing in financial management. Everything in financial management will be asked by the examiner. So let me explain. Business finance will be in the exam hall. That is sources of finance and cost of capital. It's going to be in the exam hall. You don't need a miracle for that. It will be there. Okay? Sources of finance and cost of capital. It will be there. Now, when it comes to cost of capital, we have cost of equity. When it comes to cost of equity, we have the dividend valuation method. Then we have the capital asset pricing model. Then we have cost of debt, KD. When it comes to cost of debt, we have cost of debt before tax and cost of debt after tax. You must know that pretty well. Then you have issues relating to the weighted average cost of capital and how it has to be dealt with. It is going to be there. So your bet is to understand the principles that guide how we calculate cost of equity under each of the circumstances. If you are using dividend valuation model, there is constant dividend and there is constant growth in dividend. How do we face that into it? If you are using the capital asset pricing model, then we would have to look at the asset beta. Sometimes we would have to adjust the asset beta or not adjust the asset beta. It depends on the context of the question. Then cost of debt. So what I'm saying is business finance is there. 2, business valuation. Whether I like it or not, there's business valuation that's going to be there in the exam hall. Now, as to the method, you don't know, but you have to understand the principles that underline each of the methods. We have the asset valuation methods. We have the dividend valuation method. We have the price earnings the earnings yield method. We have the cash flow method. We have the free cash flow concept as well. So understand these topics pretty well, these subtopics pretty well. The principles, the principles. Okay. Then you come to risk management. There is a question in the exam or waiting for you on risk management. What? Which part of the risk? Because we have the foreign currency risk, we have the interest rate risk, and you must understand the various ways through which the risks can be hedged. Okay, so we have the money market hedge, we have the forward contracts, we have the features, we have the netting offs. You must understand those principles very well. Which one would the examiner bring? We don't know, but it's going to bring something about that. Then you come to investment appraisal, huge area for the examiner in financial management. There's going to be question on investment appraisal. Which part of the investment appraisal? We don't know, because in financial management, we're going to have the methods coming in, capital asset budgeting process itself coming in, and then the methods. After the method sensitivity analysis is there, then asset replacement cycle is also there. Then lease or buy is also there. So investment appraiser is another bunch area. Each aspect can be asked by the examiner. Which aspect will be coming? I don't know. So you call the shot. You decide what is going to be there. So, and then working capital management, certainly. Okay, working capital management, certainly, it's going to be there. But which of the working capital? Is it trade receivables, inventory, trade payable, or cash management? Which one will be there? You must understand the principle that underline each of these. Don't try to focus on any of them, because the examiner is at liberty to do whatever the heck he wants to do as far as it is in the syllabus. So you in turn must spend time to understand everything about the topic in the syllabus and put yourself in the position to pass the exams. And that is what I was saying earlier. If you say, Nhyira, we don't have time available, we don't have time available, give us something. If you don't have time available, stop the ICA. Stop it. When you get time to study, then you can study. Because that is, I know majority of you who are watching the playback, whatever the heck, you've not been studying in the last 10 weeks. And you are waiting to attend an intervention class, because you think attending an intervention class, you will receive a magic pill that will help you to go into the exam hall. You will attend the intervention class, you will look at questions, you will solve things, you go to the exam hall, and you can't do shit. Results will come and you've bombed. You've done it before, it didn't work for you, but you are still doing it. You are still doing it. So some of you, you are waiting to attend intervention classes and all manner of things because you think you can take one miserable 1 week leave. And in 1 week, you can do shabo shabo. No, you have to study hard. You have to study hard. You have to study hard. Because some of you, you are waiting to take 1 week leave. And in that 1 week, you feel you're going to work. I'm not saying it won't work, but it doesn't work statistically. But I know you have a friend who has a testimony. And the testimony from your friend is that, when I was writing this paper, God being so good, I was busy and I couldn't get time to study. But just I heard about one intervention class like that, and then I went. Then I got a book. Then I read the book and I went to the exam hall. I wrote the exam. I didn't even know the results came. I passed. And you sheepishly follow that statistics. You sheepishly listen to that testimony and use that to become the blueprint of your life. It may work for someone, but it might not work for you. It's not that you're not lucky. It's life. And statistics has proven this. It has proven this. So study. That's all I'm trying to say. Study. Don't be Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled to think that sitting down and 1 week picking your book, it'll be easy for you. No, some of you after the exams, you will fall sick because you become mentally deranged, emotionally traumatized, and physically unstable. You are tired, body pains, you are unable to sleep because you were not learning and you want to use 1 week to compress something that we were not able to finish in 13 weeks. You think you are wiser than anybody? Please. So you got to study hard. Okay? You got to study hard. That's all I'm trying to tell you. You have to study hard. 70% of students will fail the December examination. It's there. It's done deal. Only 30% on the average will pass. Will you be part of the 30 or 70? I know you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are a spiritual person. So you say, "Oh, my God will never let me fail." Yeah. But your foolishness will make you fail. So we have to work hard. And that is something I pound into my students all the time. I say, you got to study. Don't give the excuses. Stop the excuses. Study. That's it. Okay? That's it. Kelvin said, accounting is not for for the weak indeed. Oh, come on now. Kevin, if you do that, then some of us, we can't do accounting now. People will start running away. Atubra Eugene with a thumbs up in the chat. Thank you, Atubra. What do we have? At Zambia today said, hi, Nhyira, kindly advise financial management what to focus on. I think I've spoken about financial management a moment ago. I think you got that. Kevin said, I don't know, eh? You got to know. Eh? Okay. I got to know, eh? But I don't know. So what do I do? So that is the issue about that. Any questions, please put it in the chat for me. I'll put it in the comment section for me. Would want to hear from you. Any questions you have for me and something you want me to share my thought on. So what am I saying? 3 weeks to go. 3 weeks to go. You have to study. If 70% of students on the average will fail and 30% will pass on the average, it means you need to work hard. Okay? Whatever subject, management accounting, corporate reporting, advanced taxation, strategic case study, name it, you have to work harder. That's it. That's it. And it's important you work hard and understand the principles so that you can then work on your time. That is why, for instance, on our online portal, we have launched the live, question portal that is available now on our online portal as part of our online courses. So you can take a live, practice question on the portal and be able to know whether you're screwing up or you're not screwing up generally. So it helps you to work on your timing, it helps you to work on precision, it helps you to work on your understanding, and it helps you to really understand exactly what you're doing so you can increase your chances of passing the examination. I want to bring this up and show you. I want to bring this up and show you. So let's say, for instance, you go to our online portal now and you have enrolled in a program. You go to your courses at the far left here. You go to your courses. Then whatever course that you have enrolled in will be appearing here. So let's say I'm enrolled in financial management. You will see test and you see results there. So financial management, the fourth item, I click on test. So immediately I click on test, I will be able to then launch the live portal. So this is the question going on. And as of now, we have 48 questions on our portal. And you see that each question is having its time available. Look at the countdown. 2 minutes for this particular question. And in total, 1 hour, 27 minutes as of the time that we have this available. So you read a question. Which of the following statement is correct? You read, you choose your answer. Go to the next. Which of the following is least likely to be a reason for seeking a stock market listing? You read, you go. Now, what this does is to prepare you on your timing, work with you on your ability to remember things as fast as possible, and you go through it. At the end of the day, you see your results, you see the solution, and then you'll be able to know, okay, these are the areas I have to work hard on. These are the areas that I need to push myself on. And these are things that we do to enable students to really prepare. And you will see that it's hard work. It's a lot of work. It's dedication. It's sacrifices. You cannot be a chartered accountant by being lazy. And it's not about chewing baba and passing the exams. It's about knowing and having an understanding of what you have studied. So you don't go to the workplace, you're a chartered accountant, and you don't have anything in your head. Then what is the value of the certificate? What is the value of the certificate? That is why we let our students drilled go through the entire process so they can prepare well for the exams. So that is basically that. And that's what you need to understand when it comes to generally dealing with the exams going into December. My key takeaway for you is to study, study, and study. Understand the structure of the exams, work on your timing. Because some of you, you will fail the exams, not because you don't know, but because you are too slow, but because you are not able to recollect things fast. So you need to work on that. You need to train yourself. You need to adapt. You need to put yourself in that zone. And one way to do that is to go through a live question. And that is one of the reasons why our online portal has that available. So you can work on yourself, train yourself, so you can work within the time that is allocated for the exams. And definitely, if you do that, you should be able to pass the exams and be among the average 30% of the students that will be passing the ICA exams coming December 2022. All right. So that's it about that. And Kent Ejekum Johnson, Obuasi Zach Don, Spartan Rasta, Emmanuel Poma, thank you very much for the thumbs up on the video on Facebook. Really appreciate it. And thank you guys for also the thumbs up on YouTube. I really appreciate it as well. In case you've not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Please ensure that you have downloaded our mobile application. In case you've not downloaded it, you can go to the Google Play Store or the App Store and be able to download the mobile application. You get access to some exclusive contents that are not available here on YouTube for free, and also get access to some post notes and others that will help you to pass the examination. You just search for Nhyira Premium, the same name you are seeing on the channel or on the page. If you're on Facebook, just search that on the Google Play Store, the App Store, and you'll be able to download the mobile application, get access to these contents so you can prepare well for the examination. Also, remember you can get access to our audio podcast or our audio content on various podcast platforms. So wherever you get your podcast from, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, name it. Wherever you are, just search for Nhyira Premium. I'm gonna be there. All right. Just search for Nhyira Premium wherever you are. I will be there. I'll be there for you. Okay, so that's it about that. Thanks very much for joining us on the stream today. And I think it's been an interesting day answering your questions and providing you with some assistance as well on the various things that you're having. Hopefully, I'm looking at on Friday, we will come again, have another session like this to see what we can do to assist you as you revise and provide you with some assistance, answer your questions so you can go in there and pass the examination. So thanks for joining us. Stay safe and stay blessed.